Afternoon all, no respawns here, hope you're doing well. So I've got technically 3 mod reviews for you right now, but the first 2 are just the same mod. You can just get them in 2 different forms. So in the last video I was building my Brotherhood of Steel base at the airport, and I mentioned how we hadn't been given the option to build any of the wrecked airplane pieces that you can find throughout the game, and I found it was just... well, not really quite weird, actually, to be honest. It was just kind of, I believe I acknowledged that, in fact, just no one had thought to put them in yet. But fortunately, me mentioning it kind of prompted 2 people to go ahead and do just that. So, I'm actually going to show you both, because one, I don't know if they're meshed slightly differently, but also, one of them is the Unlock 7 Objects mod. Andrew has just updated it, but some of you might not, for whatever reason, be using that mod. Perhaps it's just there's too much stuff added, and you don't want your menu to be as slow. So, Trusky, the mod dev who made the Finch Farm and Grey Garden elevators, was kind enough to make one as well, so it's pretty cool. But let me just show you when I bring these up. A bit laggy on my menu. So as you can see, right, I'll start with the first one. So if you're in the main menu here, if you go to structures, just this is outside of Unlock 7 Objects, you'll get the airplane mod from Trosky. Now he's added the fuselage, center fuselage, engine housing, forward fuselage, hull debris, and wing debris. He's not added any of the chairs, which Andrew has in the Unlock 7 Objects mod, but these are pretty much the main pieces that I was asking for. I haven't really had a chance to play with them if they've been kind of, example, I don't know basically, I did like a little test thing at Nordhagen, which I'm going to start working on. I don't know if that'll be my build video or not, but I did have a fiddle with them, and they worked quite well. I was able to put stuff on the inside. As you can see right here, especially with this one, it's quite flat as well, but I don't know if they're meshed slightly differently, so I'm actually going to test out. This one's cool, but it's freaking massive, and this one's just... I want to use this one for, like, a big settlement, but it's going to be an absolute just fucking douche nozzle to actually get placed anywhere. I tried to do it on Spectacle Island, and it just wasn't having it. So if you want the Unlock 7 Objects version, it's USO integrated structures, and it's just between at the end, basically. So you go from here all the way down. Got your vehicles. I've got a bit of lag in the menu, so sorry about that. And between that and capsules, there we go. And he's got a little bit more stuff. So he's got more of the pieces there. I don't know. Actually, are they different? Oh, they're slightly different. And he's ordered them a bit differently. Then you got... I'm quite liking actually just generally these debris as well. I like having more bits that I can use to make. For example, using these kind of like little... What is this? The engine thing? The engine, I don't know planes, but these would be quite good for making more kind of like scrappy walls, actually, which is pretty cool. And then Andrew's also added the various ruined plane seating as well, so that's pretty cool. I was surprised at how quickly both of them. I was in the day. I was like, oh, and also if you look at the comments on my last video, half of them are just people telling me about it, which is great. But thank you for letting me know. And by the way, don't mean to discourage that at all. If I get those comments a lot, it means that when I check the comments, it means it's usually the first thing I see. So I was like, yes, but it also meant that I couldn't reply to each one going thank you, because it would look a bit silly. So the next mod is by Andrew CX again, and this was, you might have, well, it's in the video title anyway, but you might have seen one of them walk by anyway. So I've mentioned this quite a few times how much I fucking hate Brahmin. I mean, there's kind of like, when you first start the game, it's like, oh, I can get Brahmin in my settlements. That's quite cool. It's novelty. But then when you start, for example, having loads of supply routes, they're a metric pain in the arse. They're also noisy, and I just generally don't like them. And I've been begging for ages for, like, someone to just delete them as provisioners, because, for example, like, on one of my previous saves... There we go, this is what I'm pointing out here. One of my previous saves, I had all of my supply routes going to Sanctuary, or they'd kind of eventually stop, whereas now I've got them, like, super organised. Look at this shit, look at this shit, look at this. Admire that. Oh. Oh. Ooh. Yeah. The reason for the slight lag, by the way, is you always get the lag when you first walk across this bridge. But what Andrew's done is replaced the provisioner Brahmin with provisioner guard dogs, and yes, just yes, that's not because of his mod that are doing that. That's just Provisioner Brahmin being a little bit buggy. They jump around now and then. But they just work so well. The cool thing is they're randomized the way they look as well. I don't know what system in place is how they decide, because obviously, it just changes their bandana and shit like that. But uses the same thing as, say, Ericsson from Far Harbor, or the random guard dog you can buy from that dude whose name always escapes me. But this is, oh god, I mean, it's not to say I didn't know I didn't want it. I did want it, and I knew I wanted it. However, I just didn't think someone had made it, and I just assumed it wasn't possible. I was also hoping, like, at the time, I always wanted someone to use the iBots, but to be honest, the guard dogs are much more lore-friendly as far as I'm concerned. Because, they're not... It's just a guard dog. I mean, they're obviously... Some people did mention it as just kind of... And they acknowledged they were being nitpicky. But, you could argue that the guard dogs don't have the ability to... The reason why the Brahmin makes sense, obviously, because they've got the pack. So, if you're lore-friendly wise thinking about whether this provisioner can actually transport goods to and fro your settlement, the guard dogs aren't going to do a very good job. But I don't give a shit, to be honest, because it looks better. And it's so cool. You've got... Look at them. You got your guy, one man and his dog, just wandering through. I don't know what the health is like. Probably about the same as a Brahmin. But, to be honest, normally, I haven't done with these two, actually, because I've only just set them up. But, normally my provisioners are somewhat armed to the teeth. So they can usually tear the shit into everything. Either some kind of automatic plasma rifle like this one, or I usually give them those, the assault rifles, or the assault rifles from... Nuka, I always forget the names of those. Anyway, these three mods, I recommend getting all three, just because, for example, you can fiddle around with mesh a little bit on the airplane mod, and also I'm going to do it as well, but also they might change and stuff like that. But this dog mod as well, just yes. Anyway, hope you guys found these cool. They're actually 3 awesome mods, no issues whatsoever. The only issues I've noticed with this one is just Brahmin traditional issues, as in, they might suddenly just appear in the air and drop, or just teleport around a little bit like Brahmin do anyway, but that's definitely just due to the base way the Provisioner Brahmin work, rather than the Provisioner dog. Anyway, hope you guys found that interesting. Hopefully this gets you eager to leap over and download these mods. I'll put the links to all 3 in the description. If you do like them, don't forget to leave a comment on the mod developers, on the page, on the Bethesda little page thing, and also rate them up as well, because that allows them to be seen by new people, and is just a nice thing to do. Anyway, I'll have a new building video up soon, probably more or less definitely going to be me using some of the plain pieces. I'm actually start working on it now. Until then, you guys enjoy the rest of the week, and I'll talk to you lovely people soon. You take care.